And we are live.
Yeah.
Wait, should I put claps on that at this type of episode? Yeah, we'll put them on there. Because we got all these beautiful ladies on here today.
Are you gonna be live right
We
now?
got Raynesia, we
Oh,
got
okay.
Jazz, we got Tracy, B and Tatted, and we talking domestic violence. But before we get started, if y'all would like to share it to y'all's page or anything, if y'all want to go on there and share it, that's up to y'all. Or y'all want to get straight to it.
How you do that?
I'm getting
Now
ready
that's
to
a
go
good
here.
question because I am on
Go to
my
Tiffany's
computer.
page. It's live on Tiffany's page, and just go there and share it to your
Okay.
page.
Okay.
And
Oh,
as
I
they're
got it.
doing that,
I think. Okay, I got it.
yeah. As they're doing that, make sure y'all check us out tomorrow on Wu Tang Radio. Go listen to that dope episode. Get y'all some music. Get y'all some dancing going on. We still looking for sponsors. So if you want to be a sponsor, let us know. You know. But this is a real important episode, man, and I'm happy that these ladies are, brave enough to tell their story with us to the world. Because once it's online, it's online.
Right.
So, don't tell nothing incriminating if y'all done shot people. Don't
Just
be on
like
here and
today,
shoot that mother.
honey. Just like today, I was down there with Tina and K
Yeah.
Red, and we talking, and I done told the world, honey, I got hemorrhoids.
Girl, now keep
Oh
that. Lord, that's why you were sitting so straight because you wasn't sitting all the way down. Okay, so that makes
Y'all know
sense now.
I be is just I be, honey.
You gonna
I
tell it
am
how
just
my
T.I.
God. I think you
is.
said you gotta hear me. You gotta hear me.
You got
yeah,
a Hemi.
they the internal ones.
Okay,
That's
all right. Can
all
we
right,
get
all right, all right. Sorry.
Yeah, lay on your stomach when you go to sleep tonight.
Right.
But
We can't take nothing serious.
they say nothing serious. But this is a serious matter. Like,
Oh God.
Right,
No,
it's going to get real
nothing
on its
serious.
own, real fast. So
it,
Okay.
it definitely is. So, okay, so we want to start it off with the question of, were you a victim of domestic violence, and did you grow up in a house where it was displayed? And we can start with you, Raynesia.
Oh dang. Okay. Um, a little bit of both. I grew up in it mainly with my mom, so
Thank you.
that's where I'm first seeing domestic violence.
So you
Okay,
grew
and
up
Yeah,
seeing it in your
and
house.
then as I got older, I got a little bit into a relationship where it was domestic violence. But first seeing it was with my when I was younger.
now with you seeing it with your mother, did you think that that was right? How did you feel about it?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, I grew up with uncles who would come in and knock their wives to the side, and I'll be like, "Oh, you
So
better
it's
have
just
that
kind of
dinner on that
normal.
table," like he said, like, because well, I don't know if you want to have a black eye tomorrow when we got to go to school tomorrow. So I thought it
Yeah.
was normal. I thought even with my mom, I thought that she, it was. She said she went through it because she loved that person or they loved her. So it was like, oh, okay, they love you. They apologized afterwards. They didn't mean to, until I got older and was like, okay, now this something not right. This ain't normal, mom. Like you covering black eyes. Like this
Right.
ain't right. So it was a little bit of that.
Dang. So what about you, Tracy?
He was out there drinking.
I was never raised in that environment. Um, so I never seen it. Um, actually, before I became a victim on my own, I had a very close friend, and it was the first time I had ever seen anything like that. Her husband was actually a crack addict, and he would hit her and do all this, and I just couldn't understand why she dealt with all of that. And then the very next relationship, that's why you got to be careful when you have judgments on people. You got to be careful because you'll turn around and find yourself right in that same exact situation.
Mm,
So
Mhm.
um I didn't grow up that way, but found myself in that situation.
yeah,
Hmm.
man. That's so crazy. So like he just came in and these people was just doing it in y'all's face. They didn't care if y'all was there or nothing like that. They just went on and just was fighting your mom and your friend.
Yeah. I mean, he threw her down the steps in front of me. She was pregnant with her son. Um, and she'd be walking to my house running from him, and he'd just grab her right out in the middle of everybody and pull her right on back by the head of her hair back to their apartment. And people, especially back then, would not do anything. They didn't want to get involved. Nobody wanted to do anything. I mean, I always got involved. I mean, he hit my car. He's chased me. We were coming out of a club one time. He chased us, hit my car into a median. I mean, I was in the fight right along with her. And I never, you could have never told me I would have found myself in this same situation ever.
Mm-hmm. See, that's a little different because I can understand. Usually times, you've grown up with it, you've seen it,
Right.
in your household. It has been normalized in your household, so that's coming from a perspective like you, that it wasn't prevalent in your house, and it was taught that it was wrong, and then to find yourself in that's interesting.
And I think it was also normalized because it was like, what happens in this house stays in this house. So it's like, you ain't think you was supposed to speak out and talk or say, get help. Cause it was like, nah, what you see in this house is supposed to stay here, and everything just got swept under the rug.
Yeah, especially as a child,
Right.
Yeah.
and children feel pretty helpless in that. And yeah.
So
And
Definitely.
I was gonna say, Ray
women
Ray.
try to keep that, but to your point where it says but it stays in the house and things, also another reason why the women don't speak out is because of embarrassment.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You
Mhm.
know,
Absolutely. Because
yeah,
the first thing somebody wants to say is, "Why would you stay with somebody like that?" But
Mm.
what people
they
don't
don't
understand
understand.
is you don't fall in love with that side of that person. When they wine
Mhm.
you and dine you and you're dating and now after being abused and seeking help for that, now that's the honeymoon phase.
Right,
But
that's
when
the
you're
like
when you're
grooming.
dealing with somebody like that, because I was with this man well over a year before he ever did anything, or even there
Hmm.
were no signs
No
leading up
I was
to
just about
this.
to ask that. I was just about to
sign.
ask, was there any red flag?
Absolutely not. And the situation came about, we were in a club, and me and my two single friends and him, we're all together. And, these two professional football players walk in, you know, and he's like, my girlfriends are, they're like, oh, we about to go holler at him, so on and so forth. They're picking their, taking their pick.
Hmm.
And I'm sitting at the table. Me and him are sitting at the table. So he's like, so which one of them is for you? And I was like, what? And he's like, which one? I said, there's two of them. I'm with you. So he thought he'd be funny and go holler at a table full of women next to us. And
Mhm.
was like, bought him drinks and everything. So I'm like, all right. I'm in my 20s. I'm like, all right, I got one better for you. So I go in on the dance floor and dancing with somebody. I go to walk off the dance floor, and he kind of walks up to me, and we're arguing, bickering back and forth, and he's pointing, and get your finger out my face. When I tell you I smacked he came all the way back and he knocked me out, clean out. When I woke up, he was on top of me, just hit me in the face, and then a couple of guys that I knew from the club, you know what I'm saying? They all pick him up, but he broke my nose and everything,
Wow.
blood everywhere, and I was in disbelief. Like it was like an out of body experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
out of y'all experiences, do y'all feel the male or the females are the most aggressors?
Cass, she ain't heard you. How you feel about that? Jess, can you hear us?
Can't you hear? I don't think. Can you? I don't think
I'm
she
having
can.
a terrible. Yeah,
Huh?
I think
I
something
can
going
hear
on with
y'all. Can y'all hear me?
Now,
Yes.
yeah.
Now we can, but I don't know
Y'all
if
can
you
hear
is she
me?
moving in real time?
Yeah, I
Was it
think you're moving in
like
real time now.
say? Okay.
I'm moving in real time.
So, what about you, Jess? Did you grow up with it, or how did that go for you, or were you in it?
Both. I grew up in it. I see my mama and my dad fight and her boyfriend fight. And then as I got older, I always told myself, like, oh, I'm not gonna get in those type of situations. And Lord and behold, like almost I'm like almost all of my serious relationships at some point it had some type of violence in it. Like it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
like a consistent thing. It wasn't like um I was beat to a bloody pulp or anything like that. And I'm not trying to, downplay any of it, but at some point in my previous relationships, it's been violence. So it's been around me all my life.
So, was there like
Mm-hmm.
any red flags at the beginning, or did they wear the mask when you first met them?
Um, yeah. And with my now previous relationship, there was no signs. Why? Well, there were some, but not to the point of what I've experienced. But there were certain signs, and just enjoying that person, having fun, and you think you really liking them and all of that. So it's just like, oh, you try to downplay it, like, oh, it's okay, like, oh, that ain't that big of a deal. But now years later, it comes back around, like, I seen that in you that one night, and I should
Mm-hmm.
have checked it then, but that's just how I go. They representative only can show up for so long.
that part.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely right about
Because
that.
don't you think that if you, especially if you've grown up around it, that you kind of recognize it or
Oh
recognize
yes.
traits of it, and even
Yeah,
though
you
we
recognize.
recognize that, we still move forward with building a relationship with
I
this
think
person.
it's a generation thing. I think from my grandmother, from my mom seeing my grandmother get in certain relationships to her getting her relationships. In my case, I try to stay away from it. Baby, you show me a sign. I'm like, let me tell you something. I'm gonna go toe to toe with you. So before you think you're gonna raise your hand, we gonna box this out there. So I try to, I think my issue was
Yeah, that type
if
of
I
time.
see if I start seeing signs, I'm like, okay, I feel like you got some problems. So I think me and you just need not to be in this relationship. And I think you just need to go the other way. Cause I'm not the female that you think you gonna just belittle me. I'm not doing it. And then on that case, also it was like I see how men are. And so that's I kind of went to the little lady lake and was like, I think I'm gonna just date girls.
Now, I
But
was
in
gonna ask you.
else,
I didn't mean to
you
cut you off.
know,
I was gonna ask you, is that a reason why you did? Because you seen
oh
like
yeah,
what your mom went through?
yeah, most definitely. I was like, mm. I'm gonna go date some girls. But even my first like real relationship with a female, it was domestic violence. Me and her used to go toe to toe in our apartment. And it took me to I was babysitting a friend's baby, and I was like, it's a child in here, and we sitting here fighting. Oh, I gotta get out of this. I gotta get out of this. And then my brothers were young. I remember my brother, the youngest one, taking a hanger and was beating the girl in the back of the head because she was on top of me. And I was like, oh no, this gotta
Mm,
stop.
yeah.
And after that, I was just like, yeah, I can't live like this. Cause I refuse. I always used to say, like, I refuse to be my mom's twin. I refuse to be her. Like, I try so hard to not be in my mother's shadow. because I didn't want to live where it's just repeating itself, history just repeating itself. And I got 2 young brothers who I don't want them to grow up thinking it's okay. So it's like I had to try to show some type of positive, outlook for them, because they're young men and they're young Black men at that. It's already a stigma on behind their backs. So I really try to make sure that I didn't show domestic violence around them.
I can dig that.
Yeah.
Nicole, what was your question? I'm sorry.
My question was, so the aggressor side, do y'all feel like it's more the male side or the female, or
It could
from
be
y'all?
both.
It can be both, because there are a lot of
For me,
men
yeah.
that are abused as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of them that suffer in silence because they ain't gonna speak out. A lot,
And I would
Well,
have to say, after being the abused, after so many years or after so long, when you get fed up, when you get fed up because you become the aggressor. You can become the aggressor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That part.
I'm
That part.
angry.
That's one of the main reasons why I felt like I have to get away from him, because I'm gonna fuck him up. I'm
Yeah.
at that point. Like, I'm tired, and I'm not about to go to prison for you. I got 2 boys. I got 2 teenage boys. I'm not going to jail behind your ass. Like, and somebody gonna end up getting hurt, and I'm not about to do it, because I already know up here, like you said, I'm not about that. Like, we gonna fight. You come up at me, we gonna fight. You got a weapon, I got a weapon. Oh, let's do this. Like,
It took me.
I'm
It
on
took
that type of
me.
time. So
It took
somebody
me
gonna
a
get hurt.
while.
So let me go ahead and let me get on up out of there.
It took
what you
me a
saying, Trigger?
while. It took me a while to get there, but that's where it went from. All right, now it's me. Like, what we doing here? And
And
I'm like you. I had 3 daughters. It's like, no, it's time to, you know, yeah, it's time to go.
So this off our question list though, since y'all brought that up. So did y'all kids even try to intervene, or did y'all kids get into any domestic? Have y'all seen anything basically follow to y'all kids
it
from
ain't
seeing
never
what
went
y'all
that
went
far with
through?
mine. I always kept it separate from him.
Okay.
Well, I hid a lot of stuff from my girls. Um, but they knew it all. They seen it all. And I'll say this: I live with a lot of guilt because I feel like, that's not how I was raised, but that's how they were raised. And I feel like this: usually when you're in a domestic violence relationship and your children see that, they either become the aggressor or they allow it to happen to them. And, you know, in my family and within my children, it's shown up in some form or fashion. One might be more aggressive and the other one takes the abuse, whether it's mental, not necessarily physical, but the mental, somebody demeaning you and, cutting you down to your lowest. And
I
I
think
live with a
mental
lot
is
of guilt.
worse.
And I live with a
Yeah,
lot of guilt behind that because I thought I was hiding it. You know, um, we would be in certain places and one of them would say, "You remember when he did this?" And
right.
and one thing about God's grace is he will put a mental block where you forget a lot of things that happen. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
it's like away in a file until there's a sound or a smell or somebody says something.
Mhm.
And the girls would bring that up a lot. We were in a shoe store and some guy was trying, we were trying on shoes and she was like, "Mommy, you remember when so and so hit you?" And da da da. I was just like, "What do you say?" It's the
Right.
truth. I mean, I can't tell her to be, she's speaking, so,
Right.
I mean, I feel like I said, if you're raised in that environment and with the ladies on here that have said they seen that, you either become that or you allow it to happen to you in some form or
Right.
fashion. And I feel, you know,
You
Now,
know, on my page I have Ash Ash L, honey. LaPerry, I can't say your last name.
Ashla Priest. Ashla
Yes,
Priest.
little pretty.
Ash
Thank you.
LaBrie. Okay. I B just couldn't get that out right, girl.
Auntie, you got Tito's over there. Is Tito over there?
I need some Tito's. That's what I need.
Oh Lord.
She's been hanging out with us. It seemed like since we started. She said, you have those people that say about it could never be me, But she said in her personal experience, it was the man. But it's so common now for the men to be victims. Hurt people, and most of the women who are aggressors started out as the victim.
Oh
I
yeah.
believe that's true.
I,
Yeah.
I most
Absolutely.
definitely believe that. I think my mom decided to not decided, but went through what she went through because of um she was a rape victim.
Mm.
And so and then on top of that, she didn't have my grandfather wasn't around. Y'all knew my grandmother.
Mhm.
She was out in them streets. So
Right.
it's kind of like, she and then she had me at such a my mom was 14 when she had me. So we grew up more like
He was a baby.
sisters than we did mama and daughter. And so
Mhm.
I kind of feel like she she looked for that love in so many places. And then when she got hurt, it was like I see my mom get violent with them. Like they wouldn't do nothing. And I'd be like, well, dang. I mean, I know he knocked you out the other day, but he just came in the house and you started with him. Like he even take his shoes off yet. Like, but I could see why it was like, let me start with you first before you start with me. Cause I just feel like you about to come in this house and start with me. So let me go ahead and who house was you at? I'm like, well, dang, how you know he was at somebody else? Like you
Right.
ask
Yeah.
questions, you just jump on it. So I do believe hurt people, but I think that's when therapy come in, and people need to start getting in that therapy at a young age because when you using that childhood trauma and thinking you can bring that into your relationship, that's why a lot of relationships is domestic violence because people are bringing in childhood trauma or past trauma with other relationships and taking that hurt and putting it into their relationship, and it's like they're hurting other people. So and other people don't know how to handle it either. They like,
Mhm.
dang, like I'm not the one who abused you, but you sitting here cussing me out, hitting on me, and knocking me inside my head because something that your daddy did to you 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't
Hold
mean to
on. And
cut
then
you
we
off.
got
Facts.
Oh, you got it. You
CJ
got it,
said,
Quincy.
yeah,
Okay.
CJ said if y'all can talk to somebody, if y'all can talk somebody out of domestic violence relationship, what would you say? Or what advice would you give? What should a person say to someone going through it?
Or what shouldn't someone say to
Mm.
someone going through
Oh,
I'm gonna be
shouldn't. Oh yeah,
honest.
my bad.
this? What should
With that, that's really hard. From what I have learned, it's hard to give somebody advice to get out of that. Only a person gonna leave when they get tired of it. You
I
can
know
talk to
one
them till
thing
you
you
blue until they
shouldn't
blue in the
say.
face.
I know one thing you shouldn't say. Well, why didn't you just leave?
Exactly.
If it was that easy to leave, we would have left long time
Motherfucker would
ago.
have been gone.
Now,
I
Mm-hmm.
agree
what
with
makes
that.
it?
Yeah.
So what makes it so hard to leave? Is it out of fear? Is it out of this is the
Right.
only person
It's
I know?
various
I don't have nowhere to
reasons.
go.
I
Yeah.
think
So
my
what was?
mom's case
It's
was
That's
it
the
was
very
her
reason.
foundation. My mom had a foundation from us being my mom being so young and her not having that foundation of having a place, of having a stable job, to having someone who loved her. She met this man through a close friend of hers and seeing the domestic violence they had with each other. And so I think my mom was looking for security. And regardless if he was knocking inside her head or not, she had security. She had a place, she had a roof over her head. We didn't have to worry about if we had to boil water to get hot water. We didn't have to worry about if I was gonna have enough for school's clothes. My mom didn't think she could have more kids after me, and she ended up having two beautiful boys. I think it was she felt like she had to stay because she felt like
So she
what was she
sacrificed.
gonna do if she leaves? She got three kids now.
Right.
That's a
What
lot of
right?
reasons why women
Yeah,
stay.
it's a lot of
Why
It's a
she
reasons.
lot of the
stayed?
reasons why.
And she
Huh?
wanted
That's
to
okay.
give
What
the
was your reason?
boys that,
You
security too
know,
of having a 2-parent household.
well,
Yeah.
you know, it's what about you, Jazz?
What made you stay?
What made you stay?
For me, um, especially here within my past relationship, because I'm in the process now, like trying to get away from that. Like right now as we speak, I've been going through shit with my ex. For me, I stayed in the relationship because I don't have no family where I'm at. I'm all the way in Texas. All my family is up in Dayton. It's just been me and him and my kids, and I wasn't in a position just grab my kids and just go. Like
Mm-hmm.
moving from state to state or somewhere else,
Right.
that shit ain't easy. That's
You
not
kind of
easy. And then if you
isolated
with
too.
Right.
yeah, I'm isolated. And then if you
Yeah,
with
yeah.
somebody that you know for a fact he's going to make it hard. If you
Mm-hmm.
try to leave, he's going to make it hard. So it's
Well,
like I gotta play my
that's
cards
one of the
smart.
tactics.
Yeah, that's messed
Yeah,
up.
I gotta play my cards smart so I can get away from it.
Yeah.
So we
What
gonna
about
do
you,
another
What
episode
about you,
on that.
Tracy?
What about you, Tracy?
I would say fear was the number one, and not just fear of him, because he was a stalker. The man
Mm,
stalked me for
yeah.
years. Even after the relationship was over, he stalked me for years. But
Mm-hmm.
also, I was young. I was a single parent of three little girls, and I had just, you know, before him and I got together, I was with, one of the girls' dad, and I was crazy about him, so I was devastated. My self-esteem was low, and here you are, a single parent with three little girls. Is anybody going to want to be with me? And he was like the first person that popped up after all of this. And he wined and dined and said all the things and he was good to the kids. So fear of being alone,
Mm-hmm.
fear of, I've never been financially dependent on a man. I had a daughter at 16. I had my first child at 16. And, you know, I, uh, I made it, even in my relationship now, like, we've been together 24 years and my account is separate from, you know what I'm saying?
Period.
You ain't never going to catch me slipping. I'm going to always be
Period.
able to take care of me and mine.
I
Yeah,
know
Just,
I
that's
was gonna
right.
say,
you know what I'm
did that
Yeah.
saying?
put you in that
So
mind frame from going through that? Did being abused? Is that how you had to live? Like once you got into your new relationship, like now I got to make sure I'm covered. Got to make sure it's me. I can't have nobody hold nothing over my head. So that put you in that mind frame.
Mhm.
absolutely. It's a lifelong, it's been a lifelong, um, that's a foundation. That's like an element of the
That's
Yeah.
foundation.
law.
It's like this, and this is the into my children are the same way. You don't depend on nobody. You don't ever put
Right.
yourself in a predicament. One of my daughters was getting her first apartment, and she's got a significant other, and I said, you don't move in anywhere that you can't afford in case something happens to you all, him, whatever. You never become financially dependent on somebody else. So if you can't afford it on your own, if something bad was to happen, don't do it.
Mhm.
And
But
that's from that, because
mm,
you know you don't want to
right,
be you don't want to be dependent on nobody,
right.
for your
Because that's one
livelihood.
of the things too is control.
Right.
You know.
Absolutely.
But now
Oh, they love that.
to be honest with 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 it, don't a part of you think, just a small part of you think, well, I could change him. I can change him. You
Absolutely.
know, I can
I
Boy,
think my mama said that. My mama was
yeah,
like,
I could change him.
I could change him.
I don't care what no woman said. Every woman then tried that. Every woman then tried that. Like, oh, I can change it. Maybe if I just
Or
love him a little bit more. He just ain't
Yeah.
never had no love before.
or I
can
think my
change
mom
him
was
too.
like, I'm gonna be the baby mama who gonna hold him down. Like, so do you say the other baby mamas wasn't trying that either? and my mom was friends with one of his baby, like really close friends. I was like, you don't think she tried it too? Like,
Right.
so it's kind of like, I hate it when mom used to say that, like, oh, he's gonna change. He just went through some. If I just continue to love him, and be like, so when are you
But
gonna
it
love
just goes
yourself?
to
You
show
sit
you
here
that
talking about
there's
how
a
you gonna
lot of
love him.
different. There's a lot of different reasons why
Mhm.
women stay.
A
You
Oh
lot.
know,
yeah,
it just all depends, and so that is one of the things that I hate for people to ask. You know, and what do you think is
Love.
some misconceptions of? I was watching a case today. Actually, it was on court TV. It was a woman that she had been an abused woman through her whole marriage. And she ended up shooting this man 9 times. And he was laying on the couch. And he wasn't actively, moving towards her or had a weapon
He
or
was
gun or
fed up.
anything. But she shot him 9 times. And she claimed self-defense. And the jury came back with the verdict today that she wasn't guilty. I
Amen.
knew
Amen.
that she was
Very
going
good.
to be guilty,
Amen to
Very good.
that.
Amen.
but
She
they
was fed up.
understood.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
was gonna
she
say, now,
was
did y'all file any charges or try and get help or restraining orders? Because I know they say it's like a process. Because she might have been going through that,
listen,
and they say you can't
sometimes
do
that can be
nothing.
really dangerous.
it can't
Yeah. So
listen. It
how
got
did that
so bad the
happen?
cops knew my name.
Me too.
Hey, Rainicia. Hey, Ray Ray. Your mama at the hospital. The boys at the house. You want to come get them? I'm at work. Like, what are you talking about? She at the hospital. Well, can you think you could talk her into pressing charges this time? Like, it got that. I hated that. I will go, like, my mom worked at UDF on what is that? I ain't been in Ohio. It's memory. Brown Street. That's where it was.
Okay.
UDF on Brown Street. And cops used to go there all the time. It would be so bad. If I go to UDF and let a cop see me, your mama at the hospital yet? Is he locked up? And it was like, it was sad. It was like, mom, like, you got the cops looking at me kind of crazy. Like, he's still there. Like, she not gonna press charges. It was
Yeah,
hurtful.
I think that I haven't had to deal with cops in a long time. Mine was a past relationship, but a lot of times that's a dangerous that can be when it's dangerous, right? When you try to leave or when you start trying to
It's
uh,
going too far when you gotta call the police and do all of that and 911. What is he's back? It's going too far.
Yeah.
Most of the time when the cops got involved, as far as my situation, it was because somebody else called. Like,
Yeah.
mhm.
a really big incident, you know, he did it outside in front of everybody. And, nobody ran over to help. But I
Mhm.
guess they did their civil duty by calling the police. You know what I'm saying? And he did do time for that. He did
Mm.
like 18 months, but it didn't stop him, from getting out and still stalking and, you know, that kind of thing.
Mm.
Mm.
Because actually, I misspoke earlier and said I had three little girls at the time, but the truth was I had two. And when he did his 18 months, I had moved on and met somebody else and had a child or whatever. So, um, you know, I was trying to move on, but he scared everybody off. When I say stalk, he didn't just stalk me, he was stalking everybody.
It's crazy.
So
I
was
thought
it?
after my mom got stabbed 17 times by someone that he knew, I thought that would have been her wake up call to leave.
Yeah, I
She
remember that.
survived.
Yeah, I
I
remember that
I
too.
remember
thought
that.
that was gonna be like her wake up call, because it was like everything that would go, even because he turned his abuse towards me,
Yeah.
so I was getting,
Yours- you-
sexually
your
abused.
mama made the news.
Yeah, like I was getting sexual, I thought like, okay, mom, like him sexually abusing me, that's not waking you up. Dang, he almost took your life. That still ain't waking you, like that. You got stabbed 17 times, and
Yeah.
that still ain't wake you
And
up. It
then
was
hit her
like,
with a air conditioner too, or something like
Mhm.
that.
yeah, like I was just like, so
Yeah,
that's not waking
it
you up
was
either.
horrible.
And it was like, I would have had thought that something like, even with the kids, the younger ones, like forget me, I'm older now, but even with the younger ones, like you would have think like, is it gonna wake you up? Like wake up, just wake up from this nightmare of yours, because if the cops are getting to a point where they would like not even show up till hours later, like they like, man, we already know you're not gonna press charges, so
And that's the
we'll be over
scary
there
thing too, when
eventually.
people stop because they see you keep going back. I hear
Yeah,
that a lot too. Like people don't want to get involved because they constantly see you going back. They seeing ain't
or
nothing changed.
family.
Yeah, you know what I'm
Family
saying? I was,
goes. My mom, if my mom distanced herself from her whole entire family, that was y'all first time really seeing her at, what, a month before she passed. That was y'all first time seeing her in some years. Like she distanced herself from family. Like
Well,
even family was like,
yeah, I
it's
was gonna
not
say,
so much. It's not so much that she distanced herself. It's the
He did that.
abuser. That was
He
another question.
kept her away.
Topic that I wanted to bring up is that traits of an abuser. Like
Absolutely.
control.
They want to
How
isolate
they
you.
They
control everything.
isolate you. They
Yeah, they
isolate
want to
you from friends
isolate
and
you.
family.
You
Mhm.
know,
Every time you do go hang out with family or friends, or it could be the
yeah,
smallest thing, they gonna pick something. One
yeah.
one time I was going out with my sister, and his birthday literally was like 2 weeks ago. His birthday then came and went.
Hmm.
The day I'm going out with her, I'm like, oh, look, this what I'm wearing. He said, for real, you ain't gonna give me no birthday card. Like, nigga, what? Your birthday's over with. Like, and he really made a big fuss. I bullshit
Yeah.
you not. And it was like just the dumbest things. It could be
Yeah.
this big, and he would make like, yeah, they want to
But it
isolate you
was
the
your
moment
fault.
you going out. Hmm?
But it was your fault, though, right?
oh yeah,
What
they
was
be
It's
my
hitting you
fault?
with that. It's your fault.
it's never their fault.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I
it was
heard that
it
a
was
narcissist.
lot.
my fault that he didn't get a birthday card when he was out of town. That was my fault. That was my fault.
Yeah.
He left out of town the week of his birthday, and it was my fault because I didn't have a card waiting on him when he got back. Nigga, I said happy birthday.
What else do you
Like,
want?
happy
So what?
birthday.
So can I ask y'all one on one? So Tracy, like, what were some of the traits like once he actually did, you know what I'm saying, hit you in the club and things of that nature? Afterwards, what became some traits to show you like, okay, this man is an abuser for real?
Well, knock
Um,
your ass out in the club.
I mean, but she said they was cool. But
a
then
lot of
Shit.
well, like the first part, like you guys said about isolation. Oh, she ain't your friend. Anything you would tell. This is the thing about an abuser. Whatever you tell them, that's your mate. You and your best friend get into it. You gonna
We're
tell
gonna
him.
reverse it.
You gonna tell.
Yeah.
Well, he's gonna revert. Well, remember when you said so and so, or he
Mhm.
would, in me and him fighting. Well, why don't you tell her what you said about her? Why don't you tell her what you said about her? So they would, that the isolation began.
Right.
Or we would go to my family's house. Oh, well, I don't think your grandpa or whoever likes me.
Mm. Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So and then they just want to consume all your time,
Right.
and
Jesus.
those, stuff like that, and and a mood swing at the drop of a dime. You riding in the car listening to the music, and then that there somebody's flipping out, like, I mean, like, what just happened? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Oh
Right.
yeah, I see that a lot. I saw those
That's
traits
annoying.
a lot. Like I see, like, or they'll bring up your children. Like I kept getting brought up in their arguments. When I moved out at 17, because he came back, I was like, okay, I'm moving out. I'm gonna go to Job Corps. I went to Job Corps. I moved in with my auntie Deandra. I was like, yep, I'm not going back to the house. I'm gonna move in with my auntie. And it was like, oh well, your mom don't even talk to them people. So why are you going over there? And then start yelling at her like, why would you let her do? First of all, I'm grown now. How you gonna tell her what she let me do? So now
Right.
it's like, or I'll come over. Why she here? I'm her daughter.
Mhm.
What you mean why I'm here? Like, what you mean? So I seen a lot of that.
Nope.
Isolation is a big part of that. They know how to manipulate the
Mm-hmm.
situation and things that you've told them. They use that against you.
Yeah.
And
And then
tear down your self-esteem. You
yeah.
know, the psychological abuse is what gets you in the frame of mind to be able to accept the other abuse. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Because it
because
starts off with mental.
they
It
don't
Also,
starts
the
off with that
individual their own
mental.
insecurities.
It starts
you
off that
know,
mental, and then it goes. That's when it starts getting to the physical. But it starts off that mental. Now you
yeah,
can't wear this.
uh,
Why your
they
hair
gotta
done? You can't.
they gotta break down that mind. And
I thought
I
my
feel like
mama
it
was
be their own
brainwashed.
insecurities of why they do it, because they got to tear you down. They want you to be on the same level that they're on. You know
right.
what I'm saying? That's where it all stems from. And
And
jealousy,
you know,
envy.
Hmm.
the funny
So
And
thing
have
we
you
about
as
it
over?
is
women being nurturers, we think, well, you know, if I
we're gonna
just be a
finish.
little better, if I just do this, then it'll turn around.
So
You know, I,
everybody that's been on the panel that's been through the situation, how do you overcome or get out of the situation? Like,
Right.
what are y'all? How do y'all or
You
how
How
better
did
did
come
you
up
y'all?
with a
how
plan.
did you exit? Jazz, we start with you. How did you
Right.
exit?
Yeah.
Well, shit. I don't want to put too much
Or you
out there
said
because
All
you
I'm
right,
still
well,
ain't
we
trying to
gonna
exit
run
start.
yet.
We
from it.
definitely want to start with Jazz.
I'm still trying to run from the
Right.
nigga.
Jazz is doing what she got to do.
We don't want to put too much
We
out
gonna
there.
put you. We gonna skip to Tracy. So how did you get out of the
But no,
She said, well,
No, Jazz, we definitely can't. I had to think about that when she said it. I said, wait, no.
no, but
That ain't her
okay, no,
question.
I'm not gonna say too much. I'm just saying I ain't gonna say too
no,
much.
but you don't know who
But
you might be helping though.
Yeah, so we just gonna
yeah,
leave
but
it
yeah,
at
she
that.
so
ain't trying to
yeah,
mess up
I'm not
her.
gonna say too much
She
about
ain't trying to
me,
mess up her
but
thing. She gotta, you know.
you got to come up. You have to come up with some type of plan when you see an opportunity. You better take that shit. Don't be, well, I'm scared. What if you tired, because a person only knows when they done with it is when they are truly fed up. So when you see that opportunity to get the fuck on, do it. It don't matter what you gotta leave behind. Long as you can take your kids with you. If you got
Mhm.
kids, get your kids and get the fuck on. Even if you got to leave
Right,
clothes, whatever, leave that shit and go and disappear like you do. You have to disappear from these type of people. Because if not, they're going to continue to stalk you. They're going to continue to make your life hard. So
yeah.
that's
um,
it for me.
One of my
Dogging out. No, I'm just
one of my I would say what led to the final moment and final decision. Um, we were done, and I lived in an apartment, and I was going to bed one night, and you brought this up about somebody's birthday. So I was laying down for bed, and I wear contacts. So I took my contacts out. I'm going to lay down in bed, and I had my door open, cracked open, and I thought I saw a shadow, but I had been drinking. I'm tripping, so I lay down. Next thing I know, somebody's standing right here. It's dark, and he's like, "So you couldn't wish me a happy birthday?" And I was like, what? Like, we ain't even together. And I'm wondering, sitting there, like, how did he get in here? Now, mind you, my kids ain't home at the time. So I'm like, how the hell did he get in there? So all night long, he just picked all night long. I mean, he did cruel stuff. Just, put grease in my hair, took Vaseline, put grease in my hair, act like he was going to set my hair on fire with a lighter. And the moment when they say that your life flashes in front of you, He was choking me out on the bed, and my my hair was laying off the bed, and all I could think, I seen the girls coming in the house, running up the stairs from the babysitter, like, "Mommy, mommy," and I seen myself, dead. And I was like, if I get out of this situation, I'm done. So it went on all night. I said, if you leave, I'm not going to call the police. Just leave, whatever, whatever. He left. And then we were at the mall, and me and the girls, and he's like, get in the car. Get in the car. So I get in the car with him. We're driving back from the Dayton Mall. And I looked over at him. And when I tell you, I just was like, boom. I mean, and my kids are in the back of the car. He hit his head so hard against the glass, but I was done. I was like, you know what? I'm done. This is it. We're about to get it. We got out of that car and squared up.
Yeah, I know that's right.
And I literally fought for my life. And that was the it moment for me. I grabbed them girls. We ran down the hill because we were right by what is that? I can't think of. Anyway, I know exactly where it is on the highway. But before you get to where UD and all that is, you're going around that corner.
Oh, okay.
And there was a little business park. We ran down there, and I'm in the park trying to keep the girls quiet. And I'm like, I can't do this. And so we ended the relationship. He continued to stalk me. And, my husband that I'm with now, we were friends, and I was out one night at a club, and dude popped in, and he who is that, your ninja? And I'm
Right.
like, and he said, no, but I'm that ninja. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And he commenced to whooping
He
his
said,
ass.
I'm him.
Right.
He said, I'm him.
Yeah.
Right.
And so dude stalked him too for years. He would call me like, your dude is at the car wash talking to so and so and blah blah blah, but he's stuck in there. He never backed down from him. He fought him a bunch of times and all of that, but finally he left me alone.
Wow.
And I
So, look, so I got a
Rob,
question. How did he get in there? Did
How
you
did he
ever
get-
find out how he get out there? How did he get in there? Did he have an extra
I don't
key?
know, because no, he didn't have a key. I had a sliding glass door. And this one I lived in Albright, and I don't think the stick was in the door. So I don't know. But I will tell y'all this too. My other apartment that I lived in before this, I lived on the second floor. And this man climbed up the lady's
Flower pot.
no, on her air conditioner, and climbed in my window, but it was in the front, climbed in it. So me and my friend, we had company next door at her house. And we looked through the apartment. She came in the apartment with me because I looked at my window and it looked like it had moved. And she's like, I'm gonna go in with you and make sure nobody's in there. We're looking through the closets, looking at each other, looked in the shower. So she calls me when she gets over to her apartment. She's like, girl, I'm glad, he didn't pop up nowhere, blah, blah, blah. Good night, hung up the phone. I turned over, just went to sleep. He popped out this closet like, boom. You was entertaining, da 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 da. And the man, of course, I found out later on, was up in the top of the closet like Spider-Man. So when we looked eye level at each other, we never even seen.
Hell, he was off the chain, wasn't he?
right. I want to say some. Robin Mobley, she said some stuff on the side. She said, "I agree. They do isolate you from your family and friends." She's grateful that she is a survivor of domestic violence. She says, "Plan. Already have a safe place set to go. Get your money in order and save. Be bold. Don't think with your heart. It is war. You have to leave. Don't go back."
Hey,
Amen, Robin.
cuz. Look, hey, cuz.
Now, what about their
Absolutely.
family? Was their family on their side? Did they try and make it seem
Well,
like
fuck they family. They family
Boy,
always on their
yes.
side.
They mama is
Fuck they
always on
family.
their side.
That
And fuck
his
his
sisters
bald
was
head ass
definitely
mama. That's how I feel.
Well,
his
And fuck
sisters
her.
were really on his side, like, oh, he ain't do that, he not doing that, and all that stuff. Not to be
Yeah.
like, you don't see it,
Mm,
like she didn't
His
walk
mama
into
told
the
me, she
camp.
said, what do you say to him? Why don't you just be quiet? No,
right.
bitch, you be quiet.
that's see,
Right.
that's what
Well, what did
See,
you
y'all
do
gotta get
for
the
him
fuck
to
away
break
from
your
this.
finger?
I gotta get away from this.
that's
everybody messed up?
What?
that's exactly what his mother said to me one time. Why don't you just be quiet? Why don't you just you could save yourself a lot of ass whoopings if you would just be quiet.
Well,
Wow.
honey, I had to ask mine because she said, "Well, what did you do for him to break your finger?" I said, "Well, what did you do to get your ass whoopings?"
What she
Right.
say?
Like who asked you that?
Hello,
Right.
And
never
then
Nobody,
she
did
said,
that.
I'm just
nobody. It doesn't matter what you
she
do.
said, I'm not saying you lying. I just don't believe he would do
Uh-uh.
that. I said,
You
yeah,
a
you
lie?
don't believe your little demon spawn ass son out here trying to choke bitches out. Like, okay, all right. Yeah, all right. Fuck his mama. I don't give a fuck.
Nobody,
Mm-mm.
It's mama.
nobody
Fuck
deserves to
that nigga
get.
mama.
Yeah,
Oh.
nobody deserves that, but that probably come from past abuse from them too. And in
Right.
this
And
Yes.
age,
he
because
wants
It
his
was
mama
good
to get
enough
her
for
ass
him. It was
whooped. That's
good
why he
enough
think
for
it's
right,
you.
normal.
right, because like we were
Mhm.
saying, different generations back then, a lot of them was housewives, and this is what they had, so they
Right.
had to be
And
there
they
with the
had to
kids.
shut up.
Yeah, they had to shut up, so they feel like you got to do the same thing
I ain't
too. But
shutting
it's a
shit
new
up.
day now.
Just like
It's
on
20
Color
years later.
Purple, she said, "You told
You
Harpo
told
to
Oppo to beat me.
Right.
Right.
So I definitely want to
You got
get
me
some
fucked
advice from
up.
you ladies. I definitely want to get some advice for you ladies, for maybe some ladies who's watching or that will watch. What would you tell them if they're going through that situation? We'll start with you, Tracy.
Um, I feel like I feel like when you don't love yourself, when you're insecure with yourself, when you don't have, when your identity is wrapped up in everybody else and you don't know who you are, you will allow people to treat you any kind of way. And until you got to look within yourself to be like, I deserve better. My kids deserve better. And it isn't until you make that decision that you're going to leave, and I can give advice to women all day long, as far as how to leave, but I would really like to speak to family members and support, you know, the women in these situations, or men, we have to make that choice to be done. You can support us. We don't need you to say, if that was me, girl, I would do da 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 da. We need you to say, listen, when you're ready to leave, I got you.
right.
You got to be honest with your friends and tell them they don't deserve it. And but you can't just be a fair weather friend. If somebody reaches out to you and calls you, you need to be there. You know, but like one of the other ladies said, the Robin, she was right about the fact that you have to have a plan. You can't fly by the seat of your pants unless you're in an emergency situation. It does take thought. It does take planning. And sometimes that can be overwhelming in itself. Where am I going to stay? Is he going to bring the drama there? Um, who can I trust? And they done he done isolated you from friends and family, you know. Um, but you have to make the decision, and once you've made that decision, then you'll start to plan your exit.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. What
Mhm.
about you, Ray Ray? What advice would you give?
Um, I'm gonna say seek help. Unfortunately, I lost my mom to suicide, thinking that was her way out, and me and my brothers are now motherless. Um, I would say as family, stay by their side. I felt like my mom felt like she didn't have no one to call on. She felt like the family was just like, whatever. And it wasn't that. They wanted to help, but in her head, she just was so, to me, I said she was brainwashed, but she was just so, you saw my mom's eyes, it was just like no soul there no more. It was like she was just surviving just to survive because she had two kids, two younger kids. I was grown. I was 18, 19, already out the house. So I would say like reach out if you need help. It's so many what is not promoted enough, but it's so many foundations out here that are willing to help. It's so many they have women shelters, they have is women groups, rights groups that are willing to help you and give you a whole nother identity to get you out of it. Like it's stuff out there, research. And get my thing is, if you can't save yourself, save your kids. Save your kids.
Amen.
I'm in a position now where I got two brothers who are looking at me like, where's my mama? Now I got to be the one to be like, well, she's a butterfly now. She done flew to the sky. She not here. But and it's hard. And I every day I got my mama ashes. I be in here smoking with her. And I be like, look here, Season. Look what you done. Cause your kids they driving me nuts. Like you couldn't just, hold on a little longer. And just save your children. If you can't do nothing else, please save your kids. Cause we're the ones we're suffering. And it's not fair to us that because you can't leave, that we gotta suffer.
Amen.
Save your children. If you gotta give them up to a family member, me and my brothers was in children's services and everything. Let us go so we could be at least safe. That's my main thing. Save your kids first. If you ain't gonna do nothing else, make sure your kids are safe.
Cool.
Mm.
What
Yeah,
about you, Jazz?
even that. Yeah.
Um, what advice would I give? Is that what
Yes,
the question is again?
yes, ma'am.
Um, I'm gonna be honest, man. Leave these niggas alone because they just bad business. Like that's the advice that I can give. Leave them alone. Focus on yourself. Like all jokes aside, focus on yourself. Focus on yourself. I know for a fact I would be so much further along right now if I wasn't dragging his dead weight. I had so much going for me 2 years ago, and just life was beautiful. I was literally creating my peace, but then here he come like a fucking plague.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck these niggas. Just have fun, live your life, because like after going through something like this, it's gonna be hard for you to trust again. Like that's just the fact of it. It's really gonna be hard for you to trust again. It's gonna be really hard for you to look at somebody and be like, is he really genuine or is this the representative? Or oh, I don't know. Like it's really gonna take a real one to come along and show you, like, I got you. You safe now. You safe now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
that's probably
the
definitely gonna
best
be
advice
hard.
I yeah, the best advice I can give is get away. Have some type of plan, family, something, but don't go back. Don't go back.
And also
Don't,
get
because
therapy for you and your kids after the fact. If
yeah,
you
get
leave,
therapy.
get
Yeah,
therapy, get some help,
therapy.
get
If you
some
can't
therapy
afford
for your
therapy,
children.
if you can't afford therapy, look into like the free counseling, because I was doing
Mhm.
that my motherfucking self. I wasn't paying for that shit. I had no money.
Mhm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
definitely was going and getting that free counseling. That lady was very helpful. Get some self help books. read on it, you know what I'm saying? Read on different things, learn how to control your triggers, learn how to control your anxiety. I'm going like y'all, this nigga did a number on me. I gotta take anxiety medicine down. Like I'm here because I'm fighting to be here. I'm not gonna let this motherfucker let me lose my mind. I'm fighting to be here. Cause I know I got
Mm-hmm.
kids depending on me. So I don't care. And some days I have real bad days where I'm just shaking, and I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm taking deep breaths, all of that. But I'm gonna keep
Mm-hmm.
fighting through this shit because you got me fucked up.
Yeah, keep
Like
feeling.
I ain't going out like that. Yeah, I'm not
And
going
I,
out like that. So come up with some type of
You
plan,
sound like
stick
your
to
mind
it.
is
Don't.
made up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
you
it's
sound
made
like your
all
mind
the
is made up.
motherfucking way up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it
dude,
ain't
so
no
since
going back.
so you said you was reading stuff and therapists. Do y'all have anything? We do the words of advice at the end and stuff like that. Do you have any books that you can refer anybody to that y'all done read? Any therapists that ain't too? Some
Resources.
people
Yeah, any
don't like
resources?
talking to therapists. Some people like. We
Some
had an
people
episode
don't.
on that. It was like, oh, they be in my business. I don't want to, So do y'all?
I could say with my brothers, I do open discussions with my brothers where we just sit and I just ask them, what's on your mind? You know, anything you want to know about mom? I ask them questions because they're at that age where they're old enough to they're gonna ask questions. Well, why don't you talk to my dad? Like your daddy. Like he not my daddy. That's why. Like they're asking questions like, well, why you not cool with our family? They not my family. So, I will say, have open discussions with your children because if you shut that out and then they get older, they gon' best believe kids see everything. So I made sure to have that discussion with my brothers and me and my brothers are like this. Like they my kid, they my birth control. Oh, why I'm not having kids of my own. So I have those open discussions with them because I want them to feel safe with coming to me and asking me questions and letting the floor be open. So I would say even if y'all don't do therapy, at least have conversations with your children to see where their head at as well. So they can feel comfortable because if not, then you don't want your child to hold all that in because that's when that behavior and all that stuff comes about. So I would just say at least try to have talks with, even if you're a Christian, bring the Bible out, whatever religion you is in, use that too, you know.
Use
If
that
you
book before anything. Go
yeah.
to
yeah,
God before like right
Amen.
there, because I know God definitely been walking me through this. I remember just here just a few weeks ago, I was praying. I said, God, if you get him away from me, if you get him away from me, I promise you that that's it for me. I'm not gonna go back because you keep showing me. Now at this point, I got a sandal print on the back of my neck. Okay, because God
Mm,
has been telling me like, stop.
mm,
So yeah, and it's just like ever since then, it's been bullshit. But it's just like I feel like he just keep evaporating, and I'm like,
mm,
hell yeah, just come on, just keep evaporating. So if it ain't therapy, go to the Bible, talk to God, really get your relationship close to God. For women with low confidence, low self esteem, April Mason. Um, I cannot think of what that book is called, but it's Identity Switch. That's what it's called. April Mason. It's a book that's called Identity Switch. Sometimes a lot of women, after coming out of these situations or just certain lifestyles, you don't know who the fuck you are. So you're trying to
mm,
figure that out. So in
Mhm.
that book, it's pretty much telling you like you can be these women that you see. You don't have to be just like them. You can take a pic of, and it's not even like you copying or trying to be somebody, but it's something that we all have seen in another woman that we admire. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? So you that shit, if
Or you
you
already
like
had it.
that,
mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you probably already had it. That's why you feel so strong to it. Like, I really like this about this person. Okay,
Mm,
pursue that. pull that shit out of you. And I really feel like that book really helped me figure out who I am, who I already know who I am, and what I know I want to become. That book helped me even when I wasn't even ready to leave when I was with him. I was
Mhm.
reading this during the relationship, and it was in the back of my mind, like, I'm gonna have to motherfucking hit the dust on this thing. I can just feel it. I can feel it. Let me get prepared. Yeah. So I just
So is
kept
that is
Now,
reading.
that
what's her
hardback
name?
online?
What's the author's name?
April
Her
Mass.
name is April Mason.
April Mason.
Yes.
So
And
And I
is
want to
that
say,
I'm gonna
lady
look that
D,
online,
up.
it's
hard
called
bottom?
Identity Switch.
Identity Fix.
Switch.
identity
Identity
switch.
Switch.
Identity
D
Switch.
got
Oh, Identity Switch.
Yeah. And
And
Lady D
Jazz,
said, thank you,
I'm a,
ladies, for being so open and transparent too.
right.
Definitely, because this is definitely a hard topic. And the fact that y'all were willing to expose that wound, we appreciate y'all for real. Because I feel like a lot of ladies really and fellas need to hear this as well. Because it's a lot of young ladies that's been losing their life. I'm happy that y'all are still here. I'm sorry about Season. Unfortunately, she's not here with us anymore. But I'm happy that you guys are. So hopefully somebody
Mhm.
watches this and they come up with their plan because they
Right.
may not have nobody to
and I,
speak to
I want to
about it.
say this. I want to say this. I know, like, I've kind of been chuckling throughout the thing or whatever. I don't want to ever seem like I'm insensitive, but that's how I cope with things. I
Coping
laugh. I
mechanism.
laugh.
Mhm.
Oh, I laugh
I
all the
know.
time. I laugh all the time. I'm gonna make a joke. I'm gonna find the funny in it, and I'm gonna laugh because I done spent a lot of times crying.
Crime.
And I
Right.
don't like
Right.
feeling like that. I don't like feeling low like that. I don't like waking up my eyes swollen because I done cried myself to sleep. Like, so
And
Mhm.
you know
I
what?
laugh
That's
at it.
one thing that I have learned about women, a lot of women in abuse. We put on this exterior that everything is okay. So when your friend is smiling just way too much, I mean, ain't nobody happy 100% of the time, every time you see them. Some uh, look in their eyes, you can see pain there because we wear
Mhm.
smiles to
And
cover
check on your strongest
from crying.
friends. Sometimes those strong friends be the ones that's really
The
going through
strong,
it
it's the
in the
strongest
back,
I'm
you know.
ready to fold.
You know, that's one thing a lot of people said about me, as feisty as you are and all that. I can never see you going through something like that. But you know,
Never know.
but
Mhm.
it was a mental, it was a mental assassination. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? They know how to get in there. And I'll say this: if it wasn't for the Lord, I wouldn't have made it. And
Amen.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
this: when they talk about spiritual amnesia,
Mm.
that's exactly what it is. I mean, in order for people to deal with trauma, when they say, that's to me, all that had to be put away. Spiritual amnesia. And I'll say this. Um, I promote therapy. I think everybody should talk to somebody, although I have not done that yet. I have always been afraid to unpack those things that are put away. What will it do to me now? But I will say this: I believe when you think I've got this handled, I got this covered, that, I'm not talking about it, it's not coming out. A lot of times it's coming out in other ways.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It could be the way you treat somebody else, or the fact, you know, the things that you're dealing with and you're going through, and, not setting boundaries with people. And, I mean, I'm a strong believer in treat, you really set the tone of how people treat you. And if you don't set boundaries, you think, oh, I'm keeping the peace,
In the
I'm not going
beginning.
to speak on it, I'm keeping the peace. Well, you keeping your peace is teaching somebody how to mistreat you. They're
Right.
going to
Mm.
keep pushing that
Right. You
envelope
teach
further and
people how to
further.
treat you. Yeah,
Yeah.
you teach people how to treat you.
And then even though we talking about domestic violence, it could be a whole bunch of different stuff. People going through teen pregnancies that don't nobody know
Mhm.
about. It's a lot of stuff going on. So
Yeah.
definitely a lot that you unpack. Don't nobody know what's going on. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. And like I said, ladies, if I can make one plea, because I'll be the one on here to admit this. Just like the young lady was talking, you lost your mother and those kind of things, and you as children have to deal with it. It's came full circle for me. I have to see my daughters, you know, I have a lot of guilt because I feel like some of the things that they've been through and they've put up with in their lifetime is because of what they've seen from what I tolerated, what I went through. And you know, none of them are being physically abused or anything like that, but there's mental abuse. And
Physical.
sometimes, you know, like I told you before, they're either the abuser or the one that is being abused. And I live with a lot of guilt because we were talking about, did I grow up seeing that? No. So that wasn't a generational curse I had to break, but now my kids have to break that generational curse for themselves and their children. So if I can piggyback off what she said, the kids are the ones that have to live with this. The things that I have forgotten, they haven't.
Right.
You know.
Kids remember the most stuff. I can agree to that. Even though, thank God I didn't marry him. Thank God I didn't end up pregnant. But my boys still had to experience certain situations. Now, again, they didn't witness anything. They never seen me and him fight, none of that, because I always kept that away from them. Always kept it away from them. But they heard the aftermath. They heard me crying. They heard me breaking down. They heard me yelling and doing all types of stuff. They may have not seen me get physical, but they seen the after effects of me when I literally
They
was having a nervous breakdown and I couldn't go into the store because I'm literally just shaking, like I'm out of my shit, and it's just like what am I supposed to do? To the point where they're walking with me to the store, like, come on, mom, we got you, you okay?
Right.
They had to witness that, so you know, thank God, they didn't see too much, but they seen enough. They seen
Yeah.
enough, and I feel guilt. I feel that same guilt because it's like, damn, I don't want them to grow up and do that to somebody else. So you know what? Before shit really hits the fan, let me get on up through because it's not gonna get any better.
and they
It's
more
not.
they know more than you think they know. they
Oof.
they
Yeah.
Oh, I
we think I thought I was good at hiding that, but to let them tell me now, mom, we would stand at your door because it would get real quiet, and then we'd hear a thump or something to that effect. They knew what was going on. I'm coming out that
Mhm.
room because trust me, I'm going to put on, I'm coming out that room like ain't nothing wrong. They knew.
Right.
They tell me now. We listened through the register. They knew what was going on, and I didn't think they did, but they did.
And you're
You know,
cheating your kids out of the mother, the whole mother
That
that
they really need.
really, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah,
because
I
you're
think
supposed to
now.
be there. You're
Right.
supposed to be their safety, and how can
Right.
you be their safety net when you're not safe?
Right.
Mm.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, now I'm redirecting my brothers because it's like, they were so young when we lost my mom. So it was kind of like their memories are a lot different from mine. I moved out. So I didn't know what was going on from 18 to 20. So with them, it's like, well, yeah, I remember this, or this was going on. So now it's kind of like, oh, let's talk about something else. So or when they're around other people and their teachers is calling me talking about something. Well, yeah, I had a conversation and they brung this incident up. I don't, and I'm like, that happened years ago. Like, why are they bringing it up now? They 14, 15. So I'm like, why y'all breaking this up? Like, we not even Ohio no more. We all the way in Georgia. Like, why is y'all breaking this up? So trying to redirect them, and also I didn't want them to see our mother as a victim. I wanted them to I be trying to read. No, your mama was loving. Your mama loved you. I had pictures all over my wall of her smiling. Remember this of her. Don't worry about that. Y'all too. Don't worry about that. Remember the Christmases, remember the dinners, remember the smiles, remember
Remember the
that.
good time. Yeah.
Yeah. So I try to like when that does get brought up, I try to like get that out their head. Like we're not gonna bring that up. We're gonna talk about, you know, when mama whooped our butts at Uno. Like let's bring something else into it because I don't want them to constantly think of her as that, as a victim, as you know, someone they just constantly saw get abused.
You know, one thing one of my daughters said to me, and this did help with the guilt. She's like, "Mom, no matter what you were going through, you were still present. You know,
Yeah.
you were our softball coach. You know, we went on vacations. You know, you could have easily went in your bedroom and locked yourself in the room and cried and but you were present. You were still a present parent, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thank God for at least that because along with those, they're grown. We sit up at night. Sometimes we laugh and cry, but I will tell you, them being children, they remember more than I do. And we still talk about that. I will never stop them from talking about it. I mean, you guys, this is over almost 30 years ago. You know what I'm saying? But they have not forgot. The things I have forgot, they have not forgot. And I allow them that space to still bring that up. If that's what you need to talk about, just like with your brothers, sometimes you got to give them that space. You know what I mean? It happened 15 years ago, but something triggered them to say something about it now.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely. Man, ladies, this has been great. This has been good. You know, I really appreciate y'all for this. I'm happy y'all getting y'all confidence. Y'all y'all happiness. Happiness.
Right.
You know, hopefully y'all
Absolutely.
find y'all
Yeah.
peace and y'all know y'all red flags and don't look over them, ladies. Not saying y'all, just speaking of ladies in general. Don't look over them red flags. If a mug hit you once, they'll hit you again and again
Absolutely.
and
Oh,
again.
definitely.
And they, nowadays they trying to
And
make
I'm
it
gonna
like
hit
it's
their ass
cool.
back. No, okay.
The very
Those
first
nice.
time.
And no-
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. I'm gonna hit their ass back.
yeah,
And
like,
it
like
ain't and it doesn't have to be a hit to be abuse.
right.
It does not have to be a hit. It can just be derogatory, speaking to you derogatory, hollering at you, trying to embarrass you. All of that leads
That's
up. And
worse.
it's
That's
Changing
present.
worse than the
changing
physical.
your
That's
appearance.
So
When
that's
you
listen,
so
this
get
is
rid of
worse
the
that.
than
first
the
time.
physical.
I
Yeah.
That's so
agree.
Yeah.
worse
I
I
than the
don't like your
physical because
braids.
it's
You need to
like
be natural. I don't like your lashes. Take them
because
off. I like it. All that
hearing
kind of
that
stuff.
from somebody you love, it's like, damn, you can say that. Like this man used to say some of the most, and I'm like,
the
what?
low blows.
You
Yeah.
could really say that out your mouth about me? For real? Like, I could never even look at him the same.
Mm-hmm.
V, I
You
agree
Because
with
it's
see
like,
you.
that?
damn, you really
That's your sign.
I
That's your
I
sign.
I agree with you, Aunt B. Sometimes, them bruises and those outside wounds heal, but the things that people say to you, you don't realize how
that
much you
shit play back in
internalize
your
that,
mind.
and you start to believe those things. You know what I'm
Because you
saying?
replay it over and over in your mind. You
Yep.
replay it over.
So them battle wounds, them outside wounds disappear, but those internal wounds, they don't. Sometimes they never go away.
So I just want the
Mhm.
ladies out there to know that that's abuse too. And if they start disrespecting you, honey, it's going to progress. So leave their ass at the first sign of the disrespect.
Yes. Yes,
Period.
please.
The
Let's
first
stop
hit, the
normalizing it.
first, yeah. That's
Stop
not normal to
normalizing any
talk
type
to
of abuse.
somebody you love like that, to cuss them out and bitch this and oh you dirty motherfucker. That's not normal to talk to somebody like that you love at
No, and
all.
when you
That's
disagree with somebody, if they're going to assassinate your entire character, the things
There
that
you go.
that well, then why are you here? When you got to ask, like, okay, if he says this about me, why is he here? Cuz it ain't true. It ain't true, or he would be gone too.
Right.
Because most men don't deal with, when once they're done, they're done. If something about them, they They're done. It's
Right.
it's and now men are victims too. Don't get me wrong,
Right.
but more women stay. We stay for the punishment. We stay, for different reasons. You know, I'm going to change him. He didn't mean what he said. He's not going to do it again. You asked earlier about some outreaches and stuff like that. Now, I went to Artemis House at one
Artemis
point.
is a good out. Yeah, that's a good resource.
They are the ones who actually educated me about the cycle of abuse. And I'm sure you can, because this is years ago, where it's the honeymoon phase,
Right.
then there's another phase, and then so they are the first people to educate me and open up my eyes, and they're absolutely a great resource out here is
Yeah, they're a
Artemis
great
House.
resource.
And
I
Yeah.
they're
don't
still
remember
relevant
us
to this
asking this
day.
question. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut nobody out. I don't remember us asking this question. Um, but in y'all experience, were any of y'all abusers like were on drugs?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, my mom.
Alcohol is
That's when my
always
mom
mostly
passed.
involved.
Yeah,
Alcohol is always involved.
it was drugs. My mom. That's how she ended up taking her life was from the drugs. And it was crazy because my mom always was a drinker. After she was stabbed 17 times and survived from that, she got hooked on her painkillers, and they both were doing it. And he had his little hustle job, so it was kind of like a norm
Exchange.
for them to get that
That was their
high,
norm.
You can go to
and it was times where they both would black out, and the next day be like normal, like they like nothing, like y'all remember y'all falling down the stairs and knocking each other, like y'all
Nah,
remember
my
this?
abuser don't even do drugs. That's the crazy part about my situation. He don't even do
Mine either.
drugs, to my
Mine
knowledge.
Well, that's just him.
Because I don't know, he probably the way he be acting, he might be good too. But to my knowledge, this
So
motherfucker don't even do drugs. He don't smoke no
I
weed,
can say,
nothing.
Well, that's
some
just
of
him. That's
yeah,
him. That's
it
his
could
Yeah,
be
he
him.
retarded. That's
Yeah,
just
that's just
him.
how he is.
People who
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
behavior issues.
Yeah.
As of right now, I was a school teacher. I stepped out, and I'm a behavior therapist now here in Georgia for children. And I will say, sometimes it be the behavior. If your kid got behavior issue, please get your child some help. They have
It starts
therapists.
from a
It's
child.
called RBT. Come see us. Get your child help because what happens is parents will ignore it. Oh, you just bad, and stop labeling your kids just bad, because it could be really a mental situation, and you just not paying attention to that child and not getting the help that child needs at an
It
early age.
becomes normal behavior.
They
Right.
grow up thinking it's normal
Normal.
behavior, and now you see why we
Mhm.
got kids out here shooting up schools and stuff, because you didn't decide to catch it when they was younger. If they were showing signs at 2, 1 years old, and
Yeah.
you didn't catch it because you thought, oh, you just bad, or it is not. These
Or
kids
thinking it's cute.
or
Right.
thinking it's cute. Get your child help. If you are seeing signs at a young with your children at a young age, get it, because what's going to happen is and that's why I came in with that childhood trauma. They're bringing it into their relationship. Something happened to that man as a child. He seen something evil was around him, and it
Yeah.
normalized him, so he thought he could bring it into in his relationships in his adulthood. And that's what's going on in the Black community. We
Right.
don't know about we don't when we say therapy, yeah, we're not doing therapy. Or
Mhm.
Oh, therapy for crazy
get
people.
help.
That's what they say.
I'm not getting my kid don't got my kid's not autistic, my kid's not this, my kid don't have ADHD. And what happens is, like, you keep saying that, and now your child an adult, and you done been to courtrooms 50,000 times because your child done beat the crap out of their baby mamas every
Beat up
chance
somebody
they got.
up.
Yeah. Or they
And
seen abuse as a
Look,
child. They
done
might have.
strangled the cat, done set the cat on fire, all that stuff. I
Yeah.
mean,
yeah,
okay.
Or they
or
seen
they
it
seen
happen to their
abuse.
mom and thought that it was normal that they
And
could
that's why
do
I
it
said,
too.
for parent, and this coming
Mhm.
from a child who saw her mother get abused, talk to your children, because thank God I had a mentor. Thank God I had a mentor who was a pastor. I went to Job Corps in Cleveland, Ohio, and thank God for them people. Cleveland Job Corps. If it was not for me going to Cleveland Job Corps, I have no clue where I'd be at right now. Them people literally saved my life to be where I'm at now. So many people say, like, "Damn, Renisha, you made it this far. All the stuff you went through as a child, like, you still standing, you still here." And it was like, it's by God. Because it was days where I almost thought of committing. It was times where I had to go get help because I'm like, something not right. So get your children help, because they're growing up and taking into their relationships, and it's not fair. It's not. Something happened to them, and the fact that he said his mama was like, "Well, what did you do?" Yeah, like what did you do?
The whole cycle of
This is mama. I already know. Yeah, their whole family is retarded. Like,
Shut up. Their whole family is retarded.
Yeah, the whole family dumb as shit. Like, I swear to God. Like, I fucked up. I fucked up. I should have got out a long time ago.
At least you know.
Yeah, we're gonna be praying for you.
Yeah, accountability hard as shit over this way. I fucked up. I thought like Nestle too damn quick. I should have got out. Abort mission. The whole family retarded. I
like
from the grandma to the cousin.
And you know that's I mean, accountability is a real thing. I have lived as long as I have, and thank God I don't look like what I've been through. But I will tell you this, you guys, you have to take some accountability when you stay in something that long. I mean, you are a victim, but at the same time, if you continue to let it go on, and you see
then
what it's
part of the
doing
problem.
You have to take accountability. I stayed in it.
Mm-hmm.
You hit me one time. Okay. You hit me 2 times. All right. 3rd time, I'm not even saying wait that many times, but what I'm saying is you have to take self accountability after a while. If you stay, you are accountable for those things that happen.
What's going on?
Well.
And then at some point it's gonna seem like, oh, so you must have loved what the fuck was going on. You wasn't scared. You wasn't.
Or
you must have really enjoyed it, or you missed something, because after so many times, after it gets so violent, it's like, yeah, something wrong. This is just what you used to, and you really think this shit is normal.
Or the parents who say, "I stay for my kids."
And we teaching our kids.
No, for your kids.
Even more.
For your
fucking
children.
them up even more.
Because of us.
Yeah, we're teaching our kids that it's okay. We're teaching them.
Yeah, a lot of people think they're doing. A lot of people think they're doing the right thing. Oh, let me show them what it's like to be in a 2-parent household.
No, honey.
You think you're doing your kids a favor?
They didn't know, and didn't know kids even ask for that.
No,
they didn't even ask for that. They could have gave a fuck less. They a lot of times the kids be feeling like, we was hoping you was gonna leave fucking John.
Yeah.
What the fuck was you still here for? Yeah. What took you so long? Yeah. So
y'all know what threw me out one day?
When my kids was planning, had went to somebody to put a contract out on him, then I said, "Oh shit, it's time to end this."
It's real.
Yeah, shit got real.
Y'all know when I realized stuff was real, when I was having a conversation with somebody and we were just having a general conversation. She was like, "You never been molested before?" I'm like, "No, that's not
I guess it's normal."
Yeah,
that's
I was
not
like,
normal.
wow. Yeah, so that just made me, I'm like, damn. Motherfuckers.
Or yeah, like when people ask, like, so they don't hit you? No.
Right.
No.
Look, you never been to
were they supposed to
shut the fuck up?
Yeah, I was like, no.
Cause what?
Yeah.
No.
They don't do that. Like, no, it's
right.
not normal.
Like, they love you. You sure they love you? Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, yeah. We could be in positive relationships. Like, it's okay.
But it's so crazy now, because a lot of times young ladies think that's cool though. Like, that's the kind of guys that they go for. They don't want the good guy.
I was at a
they
Or they
want
high
think
that.
it's
school.
cute, or a lot of females be thinking it's cute, talking about, oh, I got good coochie because he didn't. But baby, that's not cute. That man is dangerous.
Not,
It
it's
is.
Yeah.
It don't
not.
have
You
nothing
need
to
to
do with your
go.
vagina. You
You need
need
to
to
go.
run.
You need to run
That
now.
man is dangerous. Ain't no
But
coochie
ladies,
that
It
good,
is
baby, to want to
crazy
break
because
your
you see it
bone.
in these high school kids. I was working at
He
a
ain't
high
supposed to
school
be calling you
and
60 times a day and texting you every
like
hour and
popping up
asking
at
you
your
where you
house
at and all that kind
and
of stuff. He ain't supposed to be
you
doing
in
all
the
Very
that.
ninth
weird.
grade and this man
I
calling
ain't
your
gotta
phone
be,
talking about
I'm
what you got
trying to
homework.
mind my own business now. I'm calling to you.
Right. But a
Okay.
lot of times people
That's
they
very
are,
weird.
kids that are in turmoil, so they think that's how their life supposed to be. If it ain't something that's going on, then this ain't right. You feel me? Because this is how they grew up. This is what they saying. So
It's
it's
as if
just a
they're
messed
trying to
up
say it's a
situation.
trend and it's not a trend. You
That is
know,
not
Yeah.
just
okay.
Getting
just
to the
because
music now.
yeah, or they be like, well, such and such went through it and they got through it. That don't mean you gonna get through it.
But the
My
music that they listen to right now is all about, calling them bitches and all that kind of stuff. And once they start calling you out your name and
But this is when I
meaning
say
you
men
and
got to
all
take
that kind of
accountability to
stuff,
being present
that's
in their daughters' lives and their sons' lives. Because you teach your son how to be a real man and how to treat a female, or you tell your daughter the things that she needs to hear at a young age. She ain't got to worry about going out in the world looking for a man to tell her she's beautiful
Validation.
because she already. Let me tell you something. One thing I can never take away from my mama was my mama told me all the things that I needed to hear as a young female. Like baby, you ain't gotta tell me I'm pretty. You ain't gotta tell me nothing. I tell myself that I'll be by myself, happy. Okay, you ain't gotta throw me no party. What Medea say? I'm gonna throw me a party, go around the back, ring the doorbell, come back. Hey, surprise! I'm so happy you made it. I'm
Surprise,
okay. As
surprise.
long as my brothers are there with me, I don't need no friends. I don't need none of that. I'm good.
but I gotta say what Lady D said. Lady D said, "Shoot first, ask questions later. Knock
Period.
Mister Head
Oh
clean
Lord,
the fuck out."
Auntie.
Love
Period.
Of
yourself.
course.
Ladies gotta definitely gotta love themselves, man. It start with that.
Yes.
It's like I
Yes.
think Jazz had said a little minute ago. It's nothing wrong with being alone. It's nothing wrong
Mhm.
with learning yourself. Love yourself before you try and jump in a relationship, because a lot of times people don't love themselves first, so then they take it out on you.
A
It's
lot
not
of
gonna
people
work.
don't
Mhm.
even like themselves.
Right, right. Don't
Can't
even like
stand
yourself.
themselves, and that's why they don't like to be alone. Because they
Right.
don't like
Yeah,
themselves. They can't even stand to sit in the same room with they by their damn self. Man, I be
mhm,
chilling. Like what?
That's
I
like,
love being in the room with you. I be
See,
dancing. I
I
I'm
be
know
nervous
I
in
everything.
my room
Right.
by
look. I
myself.
know. I know a
Like
nigga
I'm
that can't even
good.
sleep.
you know,
Okay, you can't even sleep. I'm like, damn, you ain't gonna go to sleep. You what you think? You thinking still? You can't even sleep. That's deep.
that's
You
how
can't
much
go
I
to
love.
sleep.
That's deep.
those,
That's deep.
those sayings, hurt people, and broken people break people, and
Mhm.
that's real. I mean,
Hmm.
Yep, they bleed on somebody who ain't cut them.
Get
You feel
out
me?
while you can.
Yeah, definitely. But ladies, I'm gonna let y'all go ahead and get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? We can definitely do a part two because we definitely got to see Jazz what happens next. So we need
Right.
to
Right.
know.
Hey,
right.
You know what I'm
season
saying? If
two
you gonna
coming
be in
soon.
Mexico,
And we're gonna be
What
praying
look?
for you, Jazz.
Baby, I'm
Yes.
We
outside.
are we are
we
praying
rooting
for
for you,
you.
Jazz.
I'm
We are praying.
outside.
She said
She
it's
said, "I'm
95
outside. You about to
degrees.
be living out
I'm outside.
there." We praying
All
for
right,
your
just let
boys,
me in.
Ray. We praying for little cuz. You know what I'm saying, for the boys. Keep doing what you're doing with them. Definitely for their mental
Thank
health. You know what
you.
I'm saying, and you also stay strong too, because that's a lot you having to take on, because you
I
taking
told
on the
y'all birth
role of a mother
control.
now. You know what I'm saying? You
And
not just a big sister anymore.
Yeah.
sometimes I was going to say this. Sometimes when you think I'm not going to be like my mom, that's the biggest lesson. You might think my mom didn't teach me nothing. The one thing let her teach you is don't put up with that. Don't deal with
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be that way. Looking from the outside in, I'm better than that. I'm worth more than that.
Mhm.
Right.
I sometimes, if they don't teach you nothing else, is who not to be like.
Yeah.
Amen.
Definitely.
Mhm.
Amen to that. And definitely to you, Tretch, keep guiding your girls and making sure, what I'm saying, like you said, they don't go through that because they seen that and, keep talking about it. This has really been great. And I really hope people took something from this
Yeah.
and, people seek some type of help. I wish I had a number or something. I should have been more prepared, Lord. I should have had a number at the end. Like, ladies,
Yeah,
if you're
that
going through it.
for people
Call,
going through domestic
email
violence,
Hood
call
Talk
1-888.
Podcast
Right.
at
Yeah. Email
gmail.com
Hood Talk Podcast. We'll talk
because
to
we
you.
got security. We have
No.
whatever you need, and we gonna pop up. Okay.
Right. Period.
She
So,
said we
yeah.
gonna pop out.
Oh, we
They
pop
have
up.
hotlines. They got domestic violence hotlines.
We gonna
Yeah,
roll
I
up.
wish I had a
resources and
number.
then pin them.
This would have been a perfect time for a number. You said pin them on there. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put
Yeah,
them in the
pin them on there.
comments.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna look
them
up.
down
I'm
and
gonna
put 'em
look
in the
up like the
comments.
lumber, the Artemis,
Yeah,
and
make sure
the
you put
different
Artemis on.
resources
If
and
you are
for the
16
shelter.
to 21, Daybreak is a great place that I went there.
Yeah, for the
Daybreak is a
kids.
really good place.
Yeah.
For
I started
all
off
my
at Daybreak too. They
I
was
did
that
too.
shit.
Yeah, Daybreak.
Daybreak kids.
Okay. Have my little apartment upstairs,
Daybreak.
my little studio apartment upstairs.
Put your DBs up. Put your DBs. No,
Yeah,
I'm
right there.
Provide us that
Oh, Wayne.
information.
What's on Wayne Street? Yeah, we'll definitely put that
That
information
was like
in
the first Daybreak, not that new one they built. The first one.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
see,
used to have
I'm
to go to
young.
council
I'm the young one. I'm in the first. I think I was at the first building then.
Yeah,
The second
y'all
building, I mean.
Oh no, y'all ain't that far apart in age. Well, no, Jazz and her 40. So we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. You ladies had y'all a great night. I'm about to go ahead and end
Yeah,
this
I was at the
live.
first
Love
Daybreak.
you guys.
Thank you, Hood
I love
Podcast.
y'all. Y'all stay safe. Stay encouraged.
Yes,
And we're gonna be praying for you, Jazz.
back.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies.
Yeah, thank